Welcome to Olympic Nature Experience. We're really excited to invite your family into our programs. My name is Sarah Salazar-Tipton. I'm the director, and I'd like to just give you a few minutes of information to help you and your family feel ready. So with every program, there are always successes and challenges that you might be able to anticipate. Some of the successes that we see at Nature School are that children are more excited and more resilient in outdoor play and hiking. So if your family likes to go outside, don't be surprised if suddenly your child is more ready to go on a hike or can hike farther without being carried, or is willing to suddenly carry their own backpack and gear. Another thing that we tend to see is a lot of peer friendships and caring for peers. So at the end of the day, you might say, hey, I want to have a play date. Can they come over? And so the children tend to start arranging their own play dates and really taking ownership of becoming friends and caring for each other, which is a special thing. Then they also start taking care of other things around, like the plants and animals in your yard or in your backyard or in the local park. And so then they start to see those things as friends too. So there are a lot of really wonderful successes that we often see at Nature School. Some of the challenges, if you have a very young child, you might notice that they have a hard time transitioning if this is their first childcare setting. And if that is the case, then we're happy to work through those challenges. We have lots of experience, and we're willing to work with you and figure out what works best for you and your child to help them transition into their first childcare setting. Another challenge that we sometimes see is in the winter when children start getting a little bit colder. They might start fussing and saying, oh, I don't want to go to Nature School, especially if they go to another indoor school other days of the week. They might start saying, oh, I want to stay at the indoor school today. And that's pretty normal, actually. Sometimes children will put up a fuss, and then usually when they get to school, they end up having a really wonderful time. One of the things that I often tell parents, and this was my own experience with my children, is if your child is fussing when they come to school, but when you pick them up, they look bright and shiny, they look like they're alive and vibrant, then it is probably the right choice that they're coming to Nature School. It's probably a really good fit for them. Working through challenges is part of our curriculum, and we're happy to help children understand that challenges can be overcome. There's ways to really do that very gently. Our teachers are very kind and nurturing. We don't want to force children, or we're not trying to toughen them up. What we really want to do is teach them how strong and capable and resilient they are. And so we want to provide lots of opportunities for them. And that's what we're out here to do. So with that said, if a child is having a really hard time for more than 10 or 15 minutes, for example, if they're crying, if they're throwing a fit, if they seem cold and they can't get through it, for example, they just aren't able or willing to put on more layers, or we have all of their layers on and they're still not getting warm, or they're still not feeling better and safe, then we will call you, because we don't want a child to feel uncomfortable or unsafe in the woods with us. We want them to have a wonderful, exciting time. So you can trust us that if you're not hearing from us, then your child is having a really good time. And that when you come to pick them up, if they've had some challenges, then they've been able to work through them successfully. With that said, there are a few things that you can do to help your child navigate the challenges better. One of them is to trust your child and your teachers. Again, if we're not calling you, it means that your child is successfully working through challenges. And if your child is experiencing some challenges and we're all on the same page, then we will probably develop a plan with you. For example, if this is your child's first childcare setting and this is the first time they've ever been dropped off at a program before and they're having a hard time, we'll work with you, we'll follow your lead, we'll listen to what your parameters are so that you feel comfortable and safe leaving your child for the first time. And so that your child can learn how to build trust over time that's appropriate for your family. So if your child is not, if you're not being called to come pick up your child, you can trust your child is working through things successfully, and you can trust the teachers are really caring about them and helping them set up for success. The second thing to set your child up for success is to dress them appropriately. We've sent you a little video of how to dress your child appropriately, and in our family handbook, there is lots of recommendations for clothing and for where to get that clothing. So you can find all the information you need, and you're always welcome to email or call us for more if you have more questions or for more information. We find that children who are dressed appropriately for their own body needs are really often very, very successful. This includes having enough dry clothes, waterproof clothes, and enough layers for that child. Every child is different. Please just make sure that your child has enough clothes for their needs, that you don't force them to wear anything, and that everything they wear can get wet and muddy every class period. So So the first thing to set them up for success is to trust your teachers and your child. The second thing is to dress them appropriately. And the third thing is to role model curiosity. If you are like me, there might be some days where you're driving to school with your child in the back seat and it's pouring rain and it seems really cold and you're thinking, why am I doing this? Is this appropriate? Is my 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 7-year-old going to feel comfortable learning outside? And instead of voicing those concerns outside, like, oh, it's really cold outside. What are you guys going to do? Are you going to be safe? Are you going to be comfortable today? It's really helpful instead to model curiosity. So you can say something like, oh, wow, it's really raining. I wonder if there's going to be puddles outside. I wonder if it's going to be really fun to be outside in the rain all day. What do you think you're going to do at school today? This way, you're kind of reframing your concerns or even your fears about what's going on with the weather in a way that leaves room for new options and new ideas and for lots of fun. So if you can role model curiosity for your children when you're dropping them off at school, especially if you have some concerns, then please do that because it really sets them up for success. And if you have some concerns, please talk to the teachers. That's a great place to say, I'm concerned. What are you going to do? What's your plan? We always invite discussion and dialogue because we want to make sure that you feel safe and you feel confident dropping your child off. So those are the successes and the challenges. There's probably a lot more information, but we're happy to talk to you in person when you're dropping off so that we can work through anything that we need together. Nurturing touch. So we feel that children who come to our programs deserve to have nurturing, kind, and child-led touch when they ask. Child-led touch means if they want to hold a hand, we'll let them hold our hand. If they need to sit on our lap, we'll let them do that. But it's always age appropriate. So for the 3-year-olds, we're going to let them sit on our lap for story if that's what they would like, or during lunch, or if they need a hug when they fall down and they hurt themselves, we'll do that. But at the 7-year-old level, it's different. Nurturing touch might look like a pat on the back or a high five sometimes. What we're always doing is listening to the children and seeing what kind of touch they're asking for and what's appropriate for their age. We're here to support your children and their development, and we feel that having role models and mentors and teachers that care about them and can show that through safe, appropriate nurturing touch is really important. We have more information about that in our family handbook, and we encourage you to look through that. But we just want to let you know that, yes, we will give your child a hug when they need it, and we will also always listen when they say, no, that's not what they need. The only time that is not applicable when they cannot refuse touch is if we need to move them for safety reasons. This happens mostly in the early learning class. If a child is being unsafe because they're just having a hard time and they're still learning how to be patient and to be kind, occasionally we might have to move them or hold them or maybe even just restrict their arm movement so they don't actually hit that child with a stick. But other than that, and then as soon as we can, we will stop touching them and we will discuss with them what the appropriate thing to do is with their arm or their body, and we'll help them learn how to calm their body down so they don't hurt others with their body. So that's the only time children are not allowed to refuse touch, but every other time in our programs, they are the ones that are asking for the touch, and we are always going to give appropriate touch that's age appropriate. So please, again, ask your staff if you have any questions. And I wanted to tell you about the facilitaries. So we call them the facilitaries. This is the backcountry toileting practices that we use. That means that while we're out in the woods, children will use the nature potty techniques of squatting in the bushes and going pee, or if they're a boy, standing up in the bushes going pee. We have lots of techniques for this that help children both learn how to do this if they're unfamiliar, take into account their emotional safety. So if they don't feel good going to the bathroom in the woods, we will get them to a regular toilet. And we also will teach them how to keep their clothes dry and how to keep sanitary. We have all the things that they need to be able to use the toilet in the woods safely and hygienically. If you have any questions, please let us know. When you first drop your child off at school, there will be your lead and assistant teacher's phone numbers on a board, and we really encourage you to put those numbers into your phone. When we have a school closure, or if there's a communication that needs to happen, for example, it's going to be really rainy tomorrow, please make sure that your child has extra clothes in their backpack, more than usual. Or we're going to have a late start tomorrow because the roads are icy. We will be texting you the night before and occasionally additionally emailing you. But we will always use text as a primary communication for when we need to do something, change something about class. So please put your teacher's phone numbers in so that when you get that text, you know who's texting you and why they're texting you. And then we also ask that if you are more than 15 minutes late to class, you text us and let us know, hey, we're on our way. It's no problem, at least in the early learning class, it's no problem if you show up late. I encourage you to make the start time of the day as flexible as you need to so that your family can get out the door safely and in a relaxed way. It's not a matter of getting to school on time right at the start. It's actually a matter of getting to school together and having a wonderful experience getting there, or at least a doable experience getting there. So at least for the early learning class, it is not critical that you show up on time. I encourage you to be flexible with the start time. But if you are going to be more than 15 minutes late, please text us so that we know to wait for you, we know to expect you. If your child is going to be absent for the day for any reason, please let us know so that we also know not to expect you. That's very helpful for our teachers. Another thing with communication is we will use text if anything happens during the day. So for example, unexpected dangerous winds have occurred. We need you to pick up. So during class, it is important for you to monitor your phone and be able to come pick up or have a backup plan to come pick up. For example, if you're at work, please make sure that we know who the backup person is that could come pick up your child if there was a sudden emergency. So when we close school and when we need to communicate, we do that primarily through text. Thank you for putting our phone numbers into your phone, and we will also be using those phones outside of class if we need to answer class-related questions. But I encourage you to use your lead teacher's phone number as a primary way to get a hold of staff. Thank you. Edibles Handbook. We teach the children wild edibles, and we encourage you to download this handbook. It is on olympicnatureexperience.org under our resources tab, and you can find the Wild Edibles Handbook. We encourage you to print it out and have it on hand, read through it. It tells you how we go about teaching the children wild edibles, and it gives you all the information that we would teach them in class so that they are not the expert. If this is your first time dealing with wild edibles or you're new to the area, we really encourage you to look through this. Site specifics. At Greenpoint, there are a few things that you need to know if you're a Greenpoint family. You may not wander away from the parking lot or classroom areas into the woods. The only exception is if you are walking in from the entrance gate, you may walk along the side of the road in the woods a little ways so that you're not walking on the road. Greenpoint is a private property and we have specific and special use there. So we're not allowed to do whatever we want, which means unfortunately our families aren't allowed to play all over Greenpoint. So that's why we ask you to stay near the parking lot or classroom areas. If you would like to join us for a class, you're welcome to do that. All of our classes have an open visitor policy for parents and family. So please feel free to join us, and we ask that you stay with the class while you're joining us. In Greenpoint, you may also, you might see that there's a 10-mile-an-hour speed limit on the driveway. We ask that you also stay to about 15 miles an hour on the roadway outside of Greenpoint in the little neighborhood. This helps keep, the speed limit is actually 25 miles per hour, and this actually just helps keep neighborly relations good because 15 miles an hour actually feels like a much more appropriate speed, especially if cars are passing on the Greenpoint Road. So the other site specifics are at Dungeness Rec Area. We will start out at what we call the Old Hollow in the fall, and we will end there in the spring, but in the winter time, we will actually move to the large group campground. So all of that information will come to you closer to, but it's just important to know that at Dungeness Rec Area, you will change locations in the middle of the winter so that we can use a different set of trails and be light on the land. Payments. You can make payments several different ways. There is information about this on our family handbook. You can make payments through our website on the payment button under class, or you can also have us set up a PayPal button for you, which makes recurring payments, but this is only available at the beginning of the semester, so please let us know if you need that. And then additionally, you can work through your bank to get automatic payments set up. And that's a great way that we see people do that. So their bank just sends us a check every month for the required amount. We don't generally send invoices except for the last month of the year and then on occasion when a special circumstance happens. But if you need a specific invoice or on a regular basis or whatever your situation is, please let us know. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email us, director@olympicnatureexperience.org or office@olympicnatureexperience.org, or you can call us at 360-461-7169 to answer any of your questions. Also, I encourage you to talk with your lead teacher. They have lots of experience and they have lots of ideas, and they are getting ready to know you and your child and your family's needs. And so they're going to be a great fit for answering your questions and figuring out what you and your family need. Welcome. Thank you.